Hey everyone, welcome to the Mirya Vahala Art Studio. My name is Mirya. This is a painting I created, a portrait of a tree with some fireweed in the foreground. It's an oval design because our eye follows along the edge of these magenta flowers, along the bright and back and around. I've used a very simple palette of two different reds, a blue, a yellow, and titanium white. And the colors that you see within here are obtained through glazing methods. And my cat is making little noises on the keyboard. Anyhow, I hope you enjoy this video, and if you do, please hit the like button, and hope to see you in the next video. Take care. Let's get started. The first step I did was to pick a 12 by 16 canvas and then cover it in a thin layer of Quinacridone Red, and I did that by mixing Quin Red and some polymer medium. Next I took Ultramarine Blue and tinted it with some white to create this blue tint that you see on the painting. These areas will be later glazed with yellow to create a green color. To keep the painting interesting, allow little bits of the red to show through the blue color. Also, make your wrist turn in different directions so that your brush marks move in different directions as well. The bit of white that I added onto the canvas is my way of seeing what the lightest shade will be on the painting compared to the midtones that I have there so far. After I've placed down all the blue areas that will eventually be green, I have now pre-mixed 3 different shades of pink. Even though it looks quite white on here, there is a little bit of red within that white. These varying tints of red will later be glazed with yellow, creating a nice yellow-orange. I meant to mention earlier, while I was putting down the blue areas for the branches and foliage, I was very aware of the negative spaces that I was creating around those blue bits. So the red that I'm allowing to stay behind, I'm trying to make those interesting and varied in shapes and sizes. When you're painting an object or a hillside or a tree, imagine which direction the thing is growing or what it is that you're actually painting. So for instance, on these tree edges, I created jagged edges and I made the marks a little bit more vertical to indicate that they're trees in the distance. The mountains on the left-hand side create nice distance for this piece, and they also are a counter force pushing in from the left towards this weight on the right. Continue to build up the sense of light on this tree by taking your blue, adding a little bit more white to it, and then putting light along the edge of the tree, a little bit more on the left-hand side of the trees and distant trees. And this shows that the light is coming slightly from the left-hand side. Once you're happy with the red tints and the blue tints, dry the painting really well because the next step will be a glazing step. Take Nickel Azel Yellow, which is a very transparent color, plus add some of the gloss medium to it. You're going to take this color and you're going to use a soft brush to brush it over the entire painting except for maybe bits of the sky. Have a moist cloth ready to go to wipe off areas of yellow if you feel like you've added a bit too much. When you're done with the yellow, dry this really well and do the same procedure with a blue color. Use your ultramarine blue and that gloss medium. Place this blue color over whatever will be green plus the shadow areas. Do this step in several layers. Put down some blue, dry it, put down some more blue. So you can keep adjusting your values as you go. Acrylic paints always dry quite a bit darker, so it's better to go lighter at first and darken as you need to. Once your blues are fairly resolved, you might need to go back and adjust some of your light areas by adding more light into the background and re-glazing. I constantly adjust my values as I go to make sure that I'm maintaining depth within the painting. To better see my values, I decided to add the titanium white for the flowers at this stage. The titanium white will be glazed with the Quinacridone Magenta once the white areas are dry. Now you can take your blue color and tint it with white and add it into the sky. You can also take little bits of tinted red and add it to the sky as well to vary the colors as you move your brush across. I decided that the mountains need to be pushed back more into a blue-gray color, and that's what I'm doing there. And then I'm moving back up into the sky and back and forth a bit to get the values. You notice I slipped in a little bit of yellow on those background mountains just to tie it in with the foreground a bit better. And now is the fun of glazing the white flowers with the Quinacridone Magenta. Once the magenta flowers were done, I realized the background hills were still a little bit too dark, so I took titanium white and a titch of yellow and added it into the background hillside. I also added a bit of that tinted yellow into the sky. Now that I have my lighter bits done, I'm going in and re-darkening the dark shadow areas as well. Here I'm adding a little bit more of the tinted yellow to the sky. I'm also adding a little bit of tinted red into the sky to help our eye to move around that oval design. After assessing the painting, I realized that the tree in the background was too much the same value as the tree in the foreground and was pulling our eye to the left too much. So I decided to lighten the tree by taking those red tints and reglazing with yellow. Take a look at your tree at this point and decide if you want to redo any of the edges of the branches on the tree using that ultramarine blue plus white. Take your time playing with these edges to make them interesting. It's worth it in the long run. Once you're happy with this blue area, dry it really well and reglaze with a bit of more blue if you think you need to darken it a bit, and then dry it once more and reglaze with your nickel azo yellow. To create a variation of color while you're glazing, allow little bits of the blue to remain. The last thing to do is to create a little bit of zing in those magenta flowers. You can do this by glazing parts of the magenta with yellow, creating an orange. Orange and magenta next to each other look quite lovely and bright. On my painting, I use cadmium orange to create those orange contrasts. Well, I think we're done. Thanks so much for watching. Here's the supply list. Subscribe for notice of new videos. Take care.